Sometimes a whole philosophy for life can be packed into just one single sentence, and that's exactly what we're looking at today. It's a really powerful challenge to how we think about our time, our priorities, our whole spiritual well being as a family. So let's dive right in. Okay, so just picture the typical family week, right? You've got soccer practice, music lessons, homework, screen time, chores, trying to get dinner on the table. I mean, it is a total whirlwind. So the question is, in all that chaos, what really gets the priority? That's the heart of what our source material is pushing us to look at.
And here it is, this one sentence. That's our entire source for this explainer. And just look at the structure for a second. It's so direct, isn't it? It's just a simple command, a start and a stop. So for the next few minutes, we're going to unpack the incredible logic that's really packed into these very few words.
All right, so to really get the advice here, we first have to understand the problem it's trying to fix. And the source kicks things off with a pretty blunt observation about what it calls the zero-time reality. So let's zoom in on that second part of the quote. Stop giving no worship time. This points to a super common situation. And it's usually not on purpose, right? It's just life happens. The source suggests that for a lot of us, the default amount of time we actually set aside for family worship, it isn't just small, it's pretty much zero. Now, the source is really specific about what no worship time means. This isn't about judging someone's personal faith or anything like that. No, it's about the absence of that carved out, intentional, protected time for spiritual focus together, as a family. It's like that blank spot on the calendar that just gets filled with whatever, because nothing intentional was put there first.
And really, this all boils down to a choice between two ways of running our lives. On one side, you've got time that's just filled by default. The schedule dictates everything and you're just reacting to it. But what the source is pointing us toward is something different. It's where your priorities dictate the schedule. In that world, spiritual life isn't an afterthought you try to squeeze in. It's the actual foundation that everything else is built on.
Okay, so if zero time is the problem, what's the solution? Well, the source builds its entire case around one single central principle. Let's break that down. The whole solution, it comes down to one word: priority. That's it. See, the source isn't just suggesting we add another to-do item to our already packed week. Not at all. It's calling for a fundamental reordering of what actually comes first. And we need to be clear here. This isn't about some vague idea of spirituality or even just quality family time. The source is super specific. The command is explicitly centered on Christ as the priority that changes the orientation of everything else. And then finally, it tells us where this priority should be lived out: in family worship. That's the spot. That's the practical application where this idea actually takes shape. So you see how it builds? The principle is priority, the focus is Christ, and the context, the place it happens, is family worship. Okay, so understanding the principle is great, but how do we actually do it? How do we put it into practice? Let's look at the actionable part of the source text now and see how it moves us from this big idea into something we can actually do. And what's great is that this isn't some vague piece of advice. The source lays out a really clear two-part action plan to get us from that zero-time reality and move us toward real, intentional spiritual growth. So here they are, the 2 steps, straight from the source. Step 1, stop giving no worship time. I mean, that's about making a conscious choice to just create a space, even a tiny one, where there was nothing before. And only then can you get to step 2, start giving more worship time, which is all about growth and building on that new foundation. So the key thing to see here is the logic of how this progresses. Think about it. You can't give more of something if you're currently giving none of it, right? It just doesn't work. The very first move is to simply get off zero. Just establish the habit, create that space. And then from that brand new foundation, that's when you can start the process of growth. It's a journey from 0 to 1, and then you can think about going from 1 to 10. All right, so let's wrap this up. What are the big takeaways from this incredibly short, but deeply challenging piece of advice? Let's bring it all together. Okay, here's the recap. First takeaway, acknowledging that zero-time reality is just a common starting point. It's not a point of shame. Second, the answer is to intentionally reprioritize, putting Christ at the center. Third, the practical place this happens is in family worship. And finally, number 4, the action plan is simple. Stop no time, then start more time. Create the space, then grow in it.
And that brings us right back to where we started. The source material leaves every one of us with a really unavoidable question we have to ask ourselves. And it's this: if a total stranger looked at nothing but your family's calendar, what would they say your ultimate priority is? Wow, that is a powerful thought to end on. Thanks for digging into this with me.